Welcome to Exploring Judaism's podcast, Holiday Bites. We are talking about Hanukkah. I'm grateful to be talking with my friend and my colleague, Rabbi Avi Novis-Deutsch. Welcome to the show. Let's begin. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself?
So I'm Avi Novis-Deutsch. I'm a conservative rabbi in Israel for the last 20 years. For the last 8 years, I served as the dean of the Shechter Rabbinical Seminary, and actually at the moment I'm at a sabbatical here in Zichron Yaakov, Israel.
What piece of Torah about Hanukkah inspires you?
So usually I go a little bit off the beaten track of how people look at Hanukkah, and I majored in history at my bachelor's. So part of the real story of Hanukkah is that the real achievement of the Jews were after the time of Judea, the Maccabees. Actually were during the period of Jonathan and Shimon. And what we learned from that period that they were very, very sophisticated in the diplomatic relationship with other nations and building partnership and agreements that would enable them to gain more and more power and actually to develop a Jewish Hasmonean state. So that's one of the main messages that I usually work with for Hanukkah. Another one is a Torah by Rav Kook that involves the fact that Hanukkah is about 8 lights that are building one menorah, and even though it's 8 lights, we say Ladlik Ner Shel Hanukkah, we refer to only one candle, and it's really to see that it's another example of something that is really talks to me a lot of how we make one out of many different lights and many different shapes. And also when you look at light, it actually has so many colors in it. And to really understand that Hanukkah is about bringing the different lights among us together and really to make room for each light in order to build our joint light. So that's, I think, another very important Torah. And the third Torah, getting a little bit more emphasis this year on top of others, is the story that there are certain things that are beyond the individual human beings that we need to address. That like if we just the Hasmonean rebellion, and I in person do, it means that there are certain things that when you're forbidden to do or when you're not allowed to do, you need to stand up for your rights, and you really to stand up as a people and to say, even though in person I might find my personal solution and we need to work together in order to prevent evil and to make room for the good.
What is a core lesson that you're taking into Hanukkah this year or out of Hanukkah this year?
Hopefully someone will hear this 20 years from now and you will ask yourself, what was it about 2023 that made me talk about this? But we're basically talking about 50 days after October 7th, 2023. The main message, I think the main thing that all of us should take from this event, that we need to be able to differentiate good from evil, that we need to be able to differentiate light from darkness, that here and there we understand what is evil and what is good, what is darkness and what is light. And we need to make sure that when we see darkness, we put light on the other side, and we'll make sure that when we light our candles, we really make sure that we know that it's in order to do good.
Especially as you just said about sort of we're in the aftermath of October 7th and the terrorist attack on that day. How could someone make Hanukkah meaningful this year, especially in the aftermath of October 7th?
The challenge of October 7th, that on one hand, that it's hard to wake up in the morning. It's been, to me, for the last 50 days, it was hard to actually do what I usually do on an ordinary day. It was really like all the order in life change sort of thing. All the things that you go according to the route, in a way you're off the road. So I think that the intention, the kavana that I think is relevant is we really need to look at small things, at small light sort of things. So I would, during candlelighting, to really dedicate candlelighting for a light, for a hero, for an act of good, of pure good that I'm facing, and to make room for it and to share the story. And maybe if we light candles together, to ask the people around to really share a story when we really saw someone act good, act in something that is clear for us that he was behaving good, something that is in a way an example, a model for us. So this is probably one kavanah. Another kavanah that I find it important this year and also find it very meaningful as an Israeli. And again, we're recording this in 2023, who knows? When we saw the pictures from the rally at Washington, I think this was a really, really huge hug for us Israelis. It was really to feel the warmth of being part of something bigger, feel part of a Jewish nation. So I would really think it makes sense to dedicate each candle lighting to one of the towns that was harmed, to a group that was harmed, to Be'eri, to Kfar Aza, to Nir Oz, to Nachal Oz, to really see the connection, the global Jewish connection to Israel and to certain places and certain spots in Israel that got harmed, and need in a way us to bring them more light at the moment. They're doing amazing job in recovering. It's beyond understanding even how much light and power these people have. But I think they really need us also to shed some light to them. So that's, I think, another kavanah I would put into my candle lighting.
What is something about Hanukkah that you wish people would know?
I grew up in Israel in an Orthodox setting and in a very traditional upbringing sort of thing. And I think we were always kind of told about the Maccabees who were very pious and were not accepting anything out of the Greek tradition and they pushed down Hellenism sort of thing. And again, if we look at history of the Hasmonean kingdom, we see that they actually did adopt part of the Greek tradition or the Hellenistic tradition. And to me, as a conservative Jew, this is actually something positive. That it's Hanukkah is about balance. Okay, we had a very challenging situation that created the rebellion and ended up in a Jewish state, but the real answer is not about denying other cultures, about avoiding Greek philosophy or Greek culture or Western culture. It's really about finding the balance, what you bring in and what you leave out, and really take into consideration every moment what is part of the package. So actually, part of the Hasmonean family had Greek names at the end, Aristobulus and stuff like that. And that's, to me, is actually part of how we do things. We adopt, but we leave behind, and we mainly emphasis we think it. We don't just take everything on one hand and we don't put aside everything. We really consider it. So that, I think, in a way, what's another Chanukah Torah that I want to put on the table.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, and happy Hanukkah.
Happy Chanukah. Thank you.